Hey everyone, it's Mr. Fisher here for our second lesson on fractions. Today we are going to be looking at different ways to show the same fractions. Now, before we begin, if you haven't seen my first lesson, you may want to stop this video and watch that one first, Mr. Fisher Teaches Fractions. It will help you to understand better what we are doing here today. For my friends who have seen it, let's review what we learned last lesson. Now, last week we talked about how we can divide one whole into different equal parts called fractions. Each of these fractions has a different name depending on how many parts we are dividing the whole up into. If it isn't divided at all, we call it one whole. That means one entire thing. If we divide it into two parts, each part is 1/2. This is 1/2. And this is 1/2. These are 2 halves. If we divide again into 4 parts, then each of these parts is 1/4. Remember the connection we made last time? That there are 4 parts and they are called fourths. 4 fourths. This colored part is 1/4. And if you remember at the end of the last video, I asked you to try dividing it again into 8 parts. These are called eighths. 8 eighths. This colored part is 1/8. Finally, we also talked about how we show these fractions with numbers. 1/2 is 1/2, or 1 out of 2 parts. Remember, this number is the part of the fraction we are focusing on. And this number shows all of the parts. How many parts are all together? 2. 1 out of 2 parts. 1 out of 2 parts. Take a look at this one. Now look at 1/4. 1 out of 4 parts. 1 is the part that we are focusing on, and 4 shows all of the parts all together. 1/4, or 1 out of 4 parts. Now, when we had our video chats last week, I noticed that some of us were thinking that this number is the leftover part. Like some of us looked at this fraction and thought that it was 1/3 because there was 1 part colored and 3 parts not colored. That's a mistake that a lot of people make. But this number is not the leftover parts. It is all of the parts all together. Just remember that phrase, all of the parts all together. Now look at this one. So when we look at this fraction, 1/8, we can see that we colored one of the parts, but there are 8 parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all together. So we write that as 1/8, or 1 out of 8 parts. Now, as you can see from our pictures, we did all of our fractions using rectangles. We did that because we were folding paper to explore our fractions. Also, rectangles are a good shape to show that the same fractions can be shown different ways. This is 1/4, and this is 1/4, and this is 1/4. As long as all the parts are equal, they are the same fractions. But what if we wanted to explore fractions using a different shape? What if we wanted to show fractions using a circle? Now, last week you did a wonderful pizza fractions activity, which showed a circular pizza cut up into fractions. For this activity, we are going to fold our own fractions. We are going to get some paper and crayons again, but this time I also want you to get something you can trace a big circle with, like a small plate or a pot lid. You'll also need some scissors so that you can cut the circle out once you're done. Why don't we pause again so that you can go get some paper and something to trace that circle with. I'll pause it for you. Are you back? Okay. So let's trace that circle onto the paper and then cut out our circle. All right, I got my circle traced. Now I'm going to start cutting it. Now again, I don't want you to be left behind. So if you run out of time, then you can pause it. Okay, so now that we have our circle, let's try that same fraction we started with last time. Let's try and fold the circle in half. I wonder how we fold a circle in half. Let's try bringing this side over until all the sides touch. This kind of looks like a half moon. Does that look like half a circle? Good. Now let's unfold it and let's see both halves. Do you have two parts? Are both parts the same size? Are they equal? Then we did it. We folded it in half. Remember we talked about last time, the parts must be equal in order for them to be fractions. If I did this, this is not an equal part. Let's color one of the equal parts so that we are showing 1/2. I'm just going to color very quickly. I'm going to color my 1/2 of my circle. And again, you're probably going to be a little more careful with yours. All right. Okay. And just about done. And there. Let's take a look. Did we color 1 out of 2 parts? Yes. So we colored 1/2. Now, let's try and make fourths, just like we did with the rectangle. How can we fold our circle so that it is in 4 equal parts? Well, folding it one time made 2 parts. Let's try folding it again to see if it makes 4 parts. Hey, this kind of looks like a slice of pizza. Let's unfold it to see if it made 4 equal parts. Are there 4 equal parts? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. We did it. We divided the circle into fourths. This is 1/4, this is 1/4, this is 1/4, and this is 1/4. Now, let's color in 1/4. I'm going to color it on this side so I don't get it confused with my half. And like so. All done? Let's take a look. Did you color 1 out of 4 parts? Great, then you colored 1/4. Now on your own, instead of trying to fold this into 8-part or 8s, you are going to try a different challenge. How do you think you can fold a circle so that you can make 3 parts? 3 parts would look like this. See? 1, 2, 3. I wonder how I folded this so that I could make 3 equal parts. Do you know what those 3 parts are called? Thirds. This is 1/3, this is 1/3, and this is 1/3. And this is how we write 1/3. Remember, so 1/2 is 1 out of 2 parts, 1/4 is 1 out of 4 parts. So the way we write our 1/3 is 1 out of 3 parts, 1/3. Now, before I let you go so you can experiment with making thirds, we are going to learn one more fraction idea. Now, we have been thinking of fractions as ways to break up one whole. Here's my one whole, and I am breaking it up into equal parts. But there is another way to think about fractions, and that is as parts of a group. Let's imagine this. Actually, let's not imagine it. Let's draw it. Let's say there are 4 people. 1, 2, 3, 4. But let's say one of these people is wearing a hat. How many people are wearing a hat? 1. How many people are there all together in the group? 4. So we can show this as a fraction too. 1 out of 4 people is wearing a hat, so the number of hat people is 1/4. See? 1 out of 4 people all together, 1/4. 1 out of 4 all together, 1 out of 4. Let's try another one. Let's say we're at a dog park and there are 6 pets. 1, 2. I know my dogs need a little work here. 3, 4, 5, 6. Meow. Okay, I'm going to give these guys some eyes. There we go. Give his an ear. There we go. Now, if you'll notice, something is different about one of these pets. What do we notice? Give this one some whiskers. Okay. Wait a minute. One of those is a cat. These other pets are dogs, but this one is a cat. How can we show this as a fraction? Well, how many cats are there? 1. Where am I going to write this? How about I'll write this right over here. Squeeze it in over here. 1. And how many pets are there all together? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. So 1 out of 6 all together. It's that easy. Well, that's all for me right now. Have fun thinking about these group fractions, and good luck trying to fold your circle into 3 parts or thirds. Now, if you need a hint, try folding a rectangle paper into 3 parts first. That may give you a clue about how you can maybe fold a circle into thirds. Parents, you may want to join in on this activity. I think you will find it just as challenging as the kids will. And remember, everyone, don't get frustrated if you're having trouble. This last part is just a fun challenge. Have a great day, everyone, and stay safe. Bye for now.